Hey guys, welcome back. So we're continuing with more Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, where in this one, we're given the introduction to Man-Thing 2099, with him being the most recent addition to this new universe, with a very interesting origin and power set. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so coming back, we jump right into the origin of Man-Thing 2099, who was once a scientist by the name of Cadman Gray, up until 4 weeks ago when his life took a crazy turn, because for quite some time he was working for Pixel Corp, which is your huge mega corporation located in New York. And just to put things into perspective, on Earth 2099, Pixel Corp is the world's premier information exchange company, so if any data is being bought or sold, it goes through them. But it's not so much the case where they're able to see everyone's information, and that's not from the lack of trying. And we see that here as we're shown Mr. Hodgson speaking to his digital assistant Ida about the quote-unquote hiccup in their system that's no longer there. And this hiccup that Mr. Hodgson is referring to, it's actually his former employee, Dr. Cadman Gray, who at one point was getting ready to blow the whistle about Pixel Corp collecting people's data through shady means. So as a solution, he developed a cell shroud biotech that would be an injectable solution to keep people from constantly having their data stolen, while also making its users undetectable to machine surveillance, which as a result would cause Pixel Tech's data collection to dwindle. But after some time, Pixel Corp realized what Dr. Gray was working on, so the doctor had to flee and seek refuge at Oasis X, which is kinda like your safe haven for mutants, mutates, and cyborgs. And under their protection, he was able to finish this project, though unfortunately, they weren't able to keep him safe for long, because Pixel Corp's men found him, neutralized him, and destroyed his lab, which as a result caused Dr. Gray's body to be oversaturated with the cell shroud biotech that he designed by taking much inspiration from his heroes, Ted Sallis and Dr. Kurt Connors. So as you could imagine, for Dr. Gray, who was inspired by both Man-Thing and the Lizard, who in their case at this point in the future, some would see them as historical figures more so than villains. But with Dr. Gray being inspired by their work, it's pretty clear to see how being drenched in his own cell shroud biotech has now transformed him into a monster as well. So going forward, much like his heroes, Ted Sallis and Kurt Connors, Dr. Cadman Gray went on to be a bit of an activist himself, with this radical change giving him just what he needed to actually make the difference that he wanted to see. Much like the segue to this video sponsor, Fume, the award-winning flavored air device that doesn't use any vapors or addictive chemicals, but instead a plant-based core infused with natural flavors. And I've been trying this out for about a month now, because I wanted to sit it at my desk and see if I would pick it up and use it, and I was surprised to find that not only is the flavor legit, but also I find it to be a really good indoor alternative to other things that'll generate clouds or smoke and destroy your favorite devices. Trust me, I know. And if you're someone who's real fidgety, I'm not, but if you are, you can just twist and click this thing all day. The Journey Pack comes with a ton of flavors you can try. I've been really digging the orange vanilla, and once you got your core in there, you can turn either end and adjust the airflow to your liking. So if you're interested in checking it out, go to tryfume.com/DopeSpillComics or scan the QR code on screen and use my code DopeSpillComics to get an additional 10% off of your Journey Pack, which includes your Fume device and an assortment of flavors to get you started. More details listed in the description, and thanks again to Fume for sponsoring this video. But going back to Dr. Gray, after we see his transformation effectively turn him into the Man-Thing of 2099, we discovered that the completed version of his cell shroud biotech had been changed so it could also be used as protection against Pixel Corp. So for Dr. Gray, upon making contact with someone, he's able to burn away the data they have collected, whether it be malicious or even essential data. So that could be bank account logins, passwords, gene sequence keys. So this guy's doing both physical and digital damage. But again, these changes that Dr. Gray made to the cell shroud biotech, this all originated from a project that Pixel Corp thought that they were going to be able to use to inject into people, perhaps under the guise of some robust antivirus, so that Pixel Corp could instead steal their personal information. So with Dr. Gray taking it from there and changing it into something that will keep people off the grid, to eventually making it a weapon of sorts, all of this is now wrapped up into him. So fast forward to the present, Dr. Gray plans on using these new abilities to take down Pixel Corp, and he's not going to let anyone stand in his way. So soon after he gets to Nueva York, he runs into a couple of public eye officers, so of course he toasts these guys. But as soon as he does this, Mr. Haxan over at Pixel Corp sees these two officers' information get deleted, which at first may kind of seem like, okay, yeah, whatever. But as it turns out, one of these guys has a prosthetic heart from Alchemax, and it's just got a factory reset. So yeah, he's in trouble. And right now, Mr. Haxan, who's watching this, he's bugging out because he's aware of where this could go. But his AI assistant, Ida, she just tells him like, hey, there's more public eye officers incoming, so if they're lucky, the officers will handle this problem before this Man-Thing gets any closer. But luck isn't exactly on their side, because a ton of the backup officers get wrecked when the Man-Thing splits their truck in half with a single kick. And then there's a moment here where two of these public eye officers grab a couple of civilians to more or less protect themselves, which is really messed up, but the both of them are disarmed when Miguel O'Hara arrives on the scene. And as soon as he gets there, Miguel gets burned by the Man-Thing's touch. But fortunately for him, Lila lets him know that she's able to handle this, which right there is just another example of how Lila is a lot more capable than other AI assistants, even if compared to others in 2099. But to take it a step further, we're also told that she's able to handle this because it's similar to an attack that her and Miguel pulled off back in Spider-Man 2099 Exodus when her and Miguel nuked the Cabal's financials. So right here, Miguel's information is safe, his identity's safe, but even still, he's suffering the pain of being stabbed in the chest and burned at the Man-Thing's touch, only to then get smacked into the billboard, because Lila's only got him covered as far as the digital protection. But back over at Pixel Corp, this attack has now made Mr. Haxan aware of Dr. Cadman Gray still being alive. So for a moment he goes off on his AI assistant Ida, because for the past 4 weeks or so, Mr. Haxan was led to believe that Dr. Gray had been neutralized. So Mr. Haxan ends up calling in a guy named the Specialist to handle the Man-Thing once and for all. While in the meantime, while Miguel's fighting Dr. Gray, he's starting to notice that the Man-Thing is more focused on going after Pixel Corp than anything else. But it isn't too long after this where the Specialist shows up. And when he does, he makes quite the entrance as he drops down, slicing the Man-Thing in two. But right away, this rubs Miguel the wrong way, because by no means was he trying to kill the Man-Thing, because Miguel believes there's a person in there, somewhere. But nonetheless, while the Specialist is just going on about how the Man-Thing is just some mindless beast that needed to be put down, and how after this, Spider-Man's next, just behind him, the Man-Thing reassembles himself back together, only to then make the Specialist burn at his touch, which on the surface may seem like the Man-Thing caught this guy slipping. But as it turns out, the Specialist knew what the Man-Thing's touch would do. He knew that burning touch would clear him out of the system, so at the cost of a little pain, the Specialist used the Man-Thing to become a ghost in the wind, which was a pretty smart move, because now, outside of Miguel O'Hara, no one else is really gonna know what happened to the guy. But after the Specialist takes off, Miguel goes back to trying to stop the Man-Thing. But as he does, the different people of Nueva York, they're all rooting for the Man-Thing, because they want him to take down Pixel Corp. They want to be free, even if this attack causes things to get a bit worse before they get better. So for Miguel, after some careful consideration, because you know how sometimes he just lets things happen. But after some careful consideration, he lets the Man-Thing go through with this. So the Man-Thing ends up grabbing a hardline connected to the Pixel Corp airship server, which originally was supposed to be a way to keep their data safe, which instead turned out to be a more accessible way for the Man-Thing to vaporize Pixel Corp's data. But right here, with the help of Lila, Miguel is able to realize that the Man-Thing didn't just blindly burn everything, but instead, if it was something related to life-saving, medical tech, bank access, the Man-Thing allowed that data to be preserved. And Lila tells Miguel that it's likely because of him, convincing the Man-Thing to not just send it all up in flames, for the sake of the people who would have been affected. So next, Lila makes her way over to the Man-Thing to have a word with him and let him know that she also speaks software. So they have a bit of a talk with a little beep bop boop, and this is how Lila discovers that Dr. Gray is actually in there. So she wishes him luck just before he leaves, and she goes on to tell Miguel that he was right. There's still some man left inside of that monster, and going forward, the people of Nueva York, they now have a clean slate. And though it's hard to say exactly what that means for the people around the city, I'm sure we'll learn more about it when the series continues this summer. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/DopeSpill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.
Thank you.